thank you to the fine gentlemen of Need to Breathe for joining us today.
Absolutely. For having me here.
Thank you.
Kind of amazing that you guys will be peaking on your sixth album here. So tell me, what has kept you fired up? What do you think has kept the momentum going for you?
You know, we were like everybody. We were a small town band. When you sign with the major label, it's like you think you're going to get a bus and you're going to get, play arenas and get famous and the whole thing. And that none of that happened. And so I think it forced us to be like, maybe we're not good enough yet. We need to work on this. And so I think our gradual ascent to whatever it is we are now, to the middle somehow, has been a blessing in a way. I think it's pushed us really hard. And, it's really cool if you make a 6 records like we have, and you start to go on tour and you're thinking like, man, we're going to have to play all the old songs. But our fans love the new songs as much. This is our biggest record we put out to date, which is huge for somebody who's been doing it as long as we have. It's really, really fun.
You say a rise to the middle. The fact is the last record was the biggest, as a top 5 debut, and this one looking even bigger. Many in the middle would be happy with those kind of results.
Yeah.
But you really switched up a lot of the sound on this record. Tell me, was there a target? Was there an idea going in that took you into sort of new directions? Was that just something that emerged as the songs started coming together? What do you see as the steps on this project, and how did you get there?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. One, the last record was really stripped down and acoustic, and that was almost forced because we were fighting a lot at the time. The band was kind of like writing songs in different rooms and barely spending any time together. It's like we get together, record the song, get away from each other, And this record, we were in a totally different place. So I think of all of us being in the same room and spending a ton of time together, it let us change more. Let us do. I think every band wants to do that. Every time you go in, you want to do something new. You don't want to do what you've done before. And I think it just being together like we were, probably more than we have been since the first record or when we first started a band. I think that was a huge part. And I think we love playing things that we're not good at. Even when we first started banjos and stuff like that, people thought, that's like, this is what they do because they're from the woods, but we had never even played a banjo. We'd heard it, but we'd never, so there was something really fresh about that.
Yeah, I think we've always wanted to kind of approach a musical instrument kind of like a kid, or brand new to them. And I think that kind of creates a lot of inspiration, to do something. And I think, it's a different record, but it's in a way it's kind of something we've always done. It's always kind of pushed what we know how to do.
So tell me that people will hear it, but where the sound led you to. They're obviously using different instruments, different influences, different kinds of things. Tell us where you feel like it landed.
Probably the 2 main influences, early 70s soul. We were listening to a lot of Isaac Hayes and that kind of stuff, and we had just sort of done some of this choir stuff on the last song from the last record, Brother. The single remix had a choir in it and all that, and so that was something we wanted to delve into, and then sort of like we called it psychedelic soul, or like where can we get these like fuzzed out guitars and the choir and the like over the top strings and horns and that era of stuff. I think that was one thing, and the other thing was sort of programming beats and all that. It's a product, I think, of the time we live in. Alternative music is that way now, so much more beat driven, and so that was like us experimenting with it in like a very sophomoric way. We're definitely not great programmers or anything. So it was us, at home on our computers trying to figure out that and then bring it to the band and see what we make of it.
And so what is that, how does that change taking these songs and getting up on a stage? You said you're lucky that people are open to hearing the new stuff next to the old stuff, but when the new stuff is even just physically, technically coming from such a different place, is it hard to figure out, or is it shift your relationship to playing, having to come at it a different way?
I don't know if it does as much as we thought it would. I think when I think of like Springsteen or Petty, who made these records that were very like 80s records, and there were pop records like Tunnel of Love we were talking about today. Like those were still great songs that he can play now on his guitar, and they last time, even if the record had a little bit of a period piece to it. I think that's something that's happening with us. We're basically coming to the rehearsal space or whatever and stripping it all the way back to how we wrote it first on a piano or whatever it is. And it's fun to add all those songs. I mean, we're trying to make the thing sound as big as we can in the live show. I mean, probably Muse is one of the bands that I saw years ago that had the biggest impact on me in an arena sort of set. They sounded louder and bigger than any band I'd ever seen. And partly it was all this use of the synth stuff and all that. And so we're loving getting into it.
You alluded to it before and said it was, the last record was came out of a tough time in a tough place. And I know that even just sort of tactically, the way that you looked at writing songs and went in to make this record was different. Tell us about, I guess you guys kind of went off and holed up and said, let's sit down and get some songs written. Walk us through what that chapter of this was.
Yeah, I think me and Bo used to fight a lot, like all brother bands do.
Grand tradition of that.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of in an embarrassing way. I mean, we had gotten to the point where we were in different dressing rooms, backstage and all that. And so a lot of things led to it. We got into a major fight. It sent me home and him home. We didn't talk to each other for a long time. And it was like, maybe we should break up the band. I don't know, I don't know what our future is. And we got back together and decided, man, I think if we can't do this, putting our relationship first, if we can't be brothers first before the band, then we don't want to do this anymore. And so I think that started it. Then we decided on this record, how can we go back to the beginning, like rewind it to when we were a garage band and, had no idea what the business was or no idea what, you start thinking sometimes when you're making records about people who are going to listen to it and what they're going to think of it, especially if you've been doing it as long as we have, we know what our fans like. And so the Mountain House thing, I think, was about us getting away. So we spent 10 days in a mountain house in North Carolina. We brought one of our guitar techs to be a chef. And we literally didn't leave for 10 days and just had a vision quest sort of thing and just try to explore and really made a lot of mistakes. Nobody's watching when you're doing that. So it's like, let's just explore this and see how bad we can go or how far we can go down that direction.
It's very, Zeppelin goes off into the countryside and
we've always
with
loved the
Stairway.
idea. Love the idea of that whole, like, let's just get completely separated from the world and see what might happen.
So tell us a little bit this, the song that gives the album the title. Tell us about this idea of hard love, which seems like, I don't know that it runs through the full record necessarily, but seems like kind of an anchor idea for where a lot of these songs went. How did that present itself, and what did that mean for you guys?
I thought we've been a band for a long time, and so we've had our share of struggles, and obviously on the last record, but the new record, we kind of came in and thought, well, this is going to be a downhill thing, this should be easy. And I think for the most part it was, but we still wanted to push ourselves, and try to take it to another place. And that, the growing pains of that, kind of crept up on us. And I think for us, the overwhelming fact, there's a love with each one of the guys, but then also a love for what we do. And so sometimes it's hard, but it's worth it.
Was there a song, or was that a song, the song, was there a song where you could kind of feel it click and feel like, okay, I can sort of see where this record might be going? Was there something that, not necessarily the best or whatever, but just the one that's kind of pointed a direction for things?
Yeah, I think so. I think we knew we wanted to make a record that was from a more positive place. We're definitely in that place personally, so we knew the record was going to be more like dancey than any record we had made, and more and lighter, in some ways. I think "Hard Love" was that song. Really, we when that song started forming, it was really late in the process, to be honest. But that title and the idea was like that makes all this other stuff click. We're not writing necessarily about the bad. We're writing because we're thankful that happened to us. Like I said earlier, just like any failure that's happened over our career has been really great in the long run. It sucks when it's happening, obviously. And I think that's really the perspective of this record is how thankful we are we still get to do it.
The clock on the wall tells me I'm out of my time and we got to go to you guys, but I got to ask one question before we take questions from audience because I can't ever get past it. We're sitting here in New York City. We're looking out on the cityscape, and I look at, the history from you guys and see the town that you guys grew up in was named Possum Kingdom. And I got to ask for a little description of Possum Kingdom from you guys because I can, what that puts in my head, you can only imagine. And maybe that's what's right.
Way worse. You wouldn't believe it. Whatever you're
It's
thinking.
pretty similar to this.
Kind of smaller.
Yeah, we had a one stop sign, a country store. The country store was everything: gas, food, haircuts, credit, whatever you needed. And yeah, it's insane. And we were just talking about this last night at Atlantic. That the first time we came up here, just how odd it was. They took us out to this nice restaurant, which they thought they were like wooing us as a, whatever, and it actually scared us to death. Had no idea how to order or what to order. It was the first time in New York. It totally freaked us out. But we actually love it here now. It's crazy. Over being here enough times, we really get a lot of energy from it.
Long way from
home, though.
home, yeah. All right, we're gonna take a couple of questions. Here we got one here.
Hi guys, I'm really excited that you're here, and I really wanted to know, what do you guys do in your downtime when you're not making music?
We're all pretty competitive, so any sport with any ball, we're good.
We're all about to take up tennis and do doubles, trying to figure out,
Yeah.
trying to pick out my partner. I think I'm going to go with Barry. He's been taking some lessons and getting prepared.
Been working on. We pick up a new sport like once every tour, so it's like softball, golf, whatever it is.
We have to play
Bocce ball.
We have to play the old man sports now so we don't kill each other on the basketball court or whatever.
We had to quit Scrabble because that caused too many band fights. There's a lot of rules in Scrabble. There could be a lot of
made up
discrepancies.
rules.
Yeah.
Made up rules. Everybody likes to make up their own rules.
Hi guys, thank you for coming in today. So I have two questions. So the first one, was there ever a piece of advice passed down, whether it was from a band that you guys enjoy or just a special person? And then the second part is, if you guys could collaborate or work with the band, like to go on tour with, who would that be?
The first thing that comes to mind when you say advice, I'm thinking like the first advice that we learned not to take, I think, was play like you're playing in front of 30,000 people. That was probably our first thing that we realized was the dumbest statement ever made. It's because if you're playing in a club and there's 9 people there and somebody's cell phone rings, you need to, acknowledge it. And then I think that also developed us having a relationship with the audience over the years. For me, collaboration-wise, I think I would love to go on tour with the Killers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know how we would collaborate exactly. I haven't worked it out in my head. I just would like to be on tour with them. Even just be a roadie on their tour, I'd be okay with that. Anybody else?
I love that answer.
Josh tell him who you
I
want.
mean, like current or like anytime.
Dream big.
Dream big. I think it would have been so fun to tour with the band back like in the 70s and stuff, and hear Levon Helm play drums every night. But currently, oh man, I don't know. I think maybe like something crazy like Kanye. I don't know, like something way far left from us. Something different. It'd be fun.
Just to see what that tour would be like.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
The adventure. All right. Everybody, thank you for sticking with us. Now comes the good part. These guys are going to come back and play some music for you. Thank you for watching the new album, Hard Love, in stores any second now. And thank you. Need to Breathe.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Thank y'all.